Y'all, it's early. It is early. The discourse and the fighting and the dissension that I'm already seeing amongst the mock draft space is wild. Kick your feet up, relax, take a damn chill pill. Me, you, him, her, none of us, probably hell, the teams included, have no idea what they're going to do when the NFL draft rolls around at the end of April. So let's just imagine and have a little hope that our favorite franchises make competent decisions and talk through a first round 2024 mock draft today on this channel, talking about some of the moves that some of these teams have made with new head coaches, new coordinators, some players that have already said that they're not going to be back to these respective squads. What may a first round look like based on the information that we have today? I just got back from the Senior Bowl. Awesome experience. Shout out to Jim Nagy and the awesome event that he puts on down there in Mobile. But I had a chance to talk to some players, talk to some NFL personnel, some things that they're thinking, some things that they're seeing. We're going to talk about it on this stream. So I'm glad you're here. If you're new to the channel, you stick around to the end of the video and you find the information actionable and or entertaining, hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe to the channel for your boy. And if you've been here before, y'all know what we about to do. We about to have a good time, baby. Let's get it. Okay, let's get it. Bitch, let's get it. Woo. Y'all know where to find me on good old X at RayGQ. And if you want more work from me and my team, go to DD.com, DestinationDebbie.com. Fantasy football, NFL, rookie profiles, all types of dope stuff dropping over there on the website. And the best part of the website is the package that includes the Discord channel, live voice chats with me, Scott Connor, and my squad, talking fantasy, talking NFL, all that stuff, 24/7, 365. But let's get into the mock and start off talking about the number one overall pick, currently held by the Chicago Bears. But I do believe that with everything that's sort of happened over the past couple of weeks with the Washington Commanders, they are going to make a move for the number one overall pick. We all thought that the offensive guru that is Ben Johnson in Detroit was going to be the next head coach of the Washington Commanders. It didn't play out like that. They came down to Dallas. That took our boy Dan Quinn, defensive-minded head coach, that hired Cliff Kingsbury, pulled him from the Las Vegas Raiders. Cliff, once upon a time, has some ties and relationships with USC quarterback Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams from the D.C. area. All the dots are just connecting. I think they've got to make a splash. The strikeout at head coach, the fact that they need a new damn stadium, the hometown kid. We all know they need a quarterback. They need a couple of things in Washington. And I'll just say, if it were me running the Washington Commanders, I believe that they are more than a quarterback away for competing for a Super Bowl title, hell, for contending for a strong playoff spot. I think they're more than a quarterback away. They need a lot of pieces. They got rid of half of their defensive line. The offensive line is a mess. Jahan Dotson, first-round pick of a couple of years ago, hasn't quite panned out the way that a lot of people thought it would. But it feels like they've got to make a splash, and no better way to do that than selecting the Heisman, former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, the dynamic quarterback a lot of people are comparing to one Patrick Mahomes. Make the move, make the trade. So I do think the Chicago Bears are going to trade with the Washington Commanders. They're going to give up their second overall pick. They're going to give up one of those second-round picks. They're going to give up a future first in order to move up for the rights to select Caleb Williams. And they don't want to accept this trade. We're going to force it through, go to draft a player, and Caleb Williams is now a Washington Commander, which leaves the Chicago Bears in a dope spot. I think the Bears could trade back again with another team, the Raiders, the Falcons, the Minnesota Vikings, and just continue to stack capital and assets on top of capital and assets. But right here, I've been saying it for a little bit. I think the Bears would be comfortable with taking Drake May 101 potentially. So to move back one spot and still get a top flight quarterback in this class, Ryan Poles, they do it again. Drake May off of the board, and he is now a member of the Chicago Bears. Welcome to the Windy City, Drake May. Leaving the New England Patriots on the clock at 3. Got an awesome, phenomenal talent. My number one player overall on my board, Marvin Harrison Jr., but you can't do nothing with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. And I do not believe that Gerard Mayo and Ben McAdoo or Alex Van Pelt are going to try to rehabilitate the Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi experience. And there just aren't a ton of free agents available at the quarterback spot. Kirk Cousins dealing with the Achilles injury. You can't pass up the current and reigning Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, Jaden Daniels from LSU. So we're going to pencil him in as a New England Patriot. Quarterbacks come off the board 1, 2, and 3. More offense because the number one overall player, according to most, is still on the board. Marvin Harrison Jr., welcome to Arizona. Kyler Murray, the happiest man in the NFL on day one, night one, the first hour of the NFL draft. Adding that player to an offense that already has in Hollywood Brown, they found a nice complementary weapon in Michael Wilson last year, one of the best emerging young tight ends in Trey McBride, not to mention their first-round pick, Paris Johnson, that they got last year, the tackle out of Ohio State, coming into his own to be one of the more premier outside not pass defenders, but protectors in the NFL. Paris Johnson, this is a home run pick for Arizona, much needed selection, and I love the fit with Kyler Murray in Arizona. Now you got Jim Harbaugh here at 5. Got Harbaugh here at 5. They bring in Greg Roman. You got Justin Herbert, one of the best young quarterbacks in the game. What do they do? They go defense. Harbaugh wants a tough defense, and the Chargers, they need a little bit of everything. All the chalk is saying offense, offense, offense. Harbaugh and Roman, man, I just think that they are going to continue to try to protect and build from the inside out. I don't think Jim is going to change who he was. I would love to see another receiver there. I think it would be fun to see a tight end like Brock Bowers in LA. But more importantly, you got to keep your franchise guy upright so he can throw the ball and try to compete with the Mahomeses of the world. Joe Alt is a fantastic talent. As much as I want to do what every other mock draft has done and pencil in a wide receiver here, they need help. They need help up front. They need help on the outside. But the depth of the wide receiver class gives them the flexibility to pass for the best player available, a position of need, to pair him with Rashawn Slater, who had a little bit of a down year this past season. Joe Alt out of Notre Dame, number 5 overall to the LA Chargers, and they will address wide receiver in the second round. The class is deep, y'all. From Ladd McConkey, Roman Wilson seems like a good fit. Jim Harbaugh's familiar with him from his time at Michigan. The Giants on the clock at 6 overall. I don't think they need a quarterback. Well, they may need a quarterback, but you ain't taking one here. Bo Nix nor Michael Penix, I think, are even remotely in the range of being drafted 6th overall. So you got to go skill position, offensive skill position. He is not my wide receiver, too, but it just feels like the type of receiver in the move that the Giants would make. Rome Odunze out of Washington. Fantastic talent. Did a film breakdown on him last week. Check that out. The link is right here, up here on the screen. You can check out Rome Odunze. But I think the New York Football Giants, they roll with Rome Odunze at 6 overall. And the Tennessee Titans sitting here at 7th overall. New head coaching change. No Mike Vrabel. He is gone out of the picture. They bring in Callahan from the Bengals. They like to air it out, throw the football. You got to protect Will Levis. The offensive line is an absolute mess. And I want to pencil in my guy, Malik Neighbors, here at the 7th spot. But I don't believe that they are going to pass on Olu Fashanu, the tackle out of Penn State. You got to protect Will Levis. If you even think remotely that he can be the quarterback of the future, then damn it, you better find some talent around him. But you got to protect him. He can't be on his back. He's got to have some time in order to deliver the ball. Who's he throwing to? Tennessee will address that in round 2. Again, the wide receiver class is loaded, pushing some of these elite level players down the board just a little bit. And now you've got the Atlanta Falcons here at number 8. Very interesting position for them to be in. You've heard Raheem Morris during his press conference. They said, what do you do to change this thing around? He said, Drake London, get him the ball. Bijan Robinson, get him the ball. Kyle Pitts, maybe throwing those guys the ball would be an appropriate move. Now, defensively, they need some help. They have not generated a lot of pressure at all getting after the quarterback. I think they have the fewest sacks in the NFL since like 2021. You got to be able to generate some pressure. I know Grady Jarrett up front. You got A.J. Terrell. You got some players. Jesse Bates on the back end. You got to make life easier for your defensive backs. I played DB in college. Make it easy on me, baby. Get some pressure on the quarterback. And I think the technical skills of Latu at the Senior Bowl, what he was able to do, I think that young man's stock is soaring. So you could go with the Dallas Turner out of Alabama, a Jared Verse out of Florida State. But I think Latu is going to continue to rise throughout this pre-draft process. So I am going to slot him in at number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons, which leaves the Chicago Bears in probably a spot that they could only dream of being in. And I've seen this player, Bucky Brooks, and some other players had him falling to 15th overall. So maybe it's not so crazy to think that the Bears will still be able to grab Malik Neighbors out of LSU at the number 9 spot. You pair Malik Neighbors with Cole Kmet, with DJ Moore, Drake May, your new quarterback of the future. I mean, if you're a Bears fan, right now, if you're watching this, you're a Bears fan, you need to like the video 10 times. Like it, subscribe multiple times, because this would be like the haul of the century if they were able to get Drake May and Malik Neighbors and they picked up additional capital. What a freaking spot. You get DJ Moore with DJ Moore 2.0. Drake May would be set up for success for a very long time. Malik Neighbors, 9 overall to the Chicago Bears. Got Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. We know defensively they're dope. You know, you can add to that defense, or you can continue to put pieces around Aaron Rodgers to help the offense succeed. We know they got Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson's dope. After that, they don't have a soul that you want to throw the ball to. Brock Bowers, come on down. You are a Jet. I think this would be an awesome spot. Brock Bowers, not the type of tight end that you're going to talk about putting his hand in the dirt and blocking and doing all that, but you know what? You don't want him doing that. You want him going out, catching passes, being filthy in the slot. Love this fit. It makes sense. Brock Bowers, number 10 overall to the New York Jets. Now, the Vikings are on the clock at 11. I get it, Vikings fans. You may not like it, may not feel good for you, but you got to find a quarterback. I don't know if Kirk Cousins is coming back. Kirk Cousins probably won a lot of money. Kirk Cousins is coming off an Achilles tear. Kirk Cousins is down towards the back 9 of his career opposed to the front 9. I saw both of these quarterbacks in person, Bo Nix and Michael Penix. And who am I, right? Old Ray GQ. I saw them both in person, and I left saying, okay, like, all right, fine. But I didn't walk away saying, oh, my God, that dude was head and shoulders better than everybody else out here in Mobile. You can say the same thing about that kid out of Michigan, but there's something to the fact that he's got the tools, that everything that you hear about him is he is that leader, what you want, that leader of men. I think J.J. McCarthy makes a lot of sense in Minnesota. So we are going to draft J.J. McCarthy ahead of Michael Penix. Again, saw him in person all week, and ahead of Bo Nix. But don't be sad, Bo Nix fans, because you got the Broncos and the Raiders right here at 12 and 13. I'm seeing a lot of mocks with Bo Nix 12, Bo Nix to the Raiders. I think one of these guys would be first-round picks. I don't believe it's going to be Nix and Penix. And if I had to put my money on it today, I think it's probably going to be Bo Nix. I don't like to do it, but it makes sense. They're not going into the season with Jarrett Stidham. They've already indicated that they don't want to roll with Russ. Bo Nix, come on down. You are a Denver Bronco. I don't know how y'all feel about it, Broncos fans. I think he's fine. I think he's a mix between Will Levis and Mac Jones. He doesn't have as strong an arm as Will Levis, but is stronger than Mac Jones. He's not immobile, but he's also not a dual threat quarterback. Wasn't asked to do a ton. Mac Jones at least throws the ball downfield. Bo Nix, a lot of screens was his production. So we'll see what Sean Payton can do with him. I think he can run an NFL offense. He's got the size. He's got the tools. Bo Nix is a Denver Bronco, which leaves the Raiders on the clock, who just made an interesting hire today. Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, going to help out the wide receivers. And assistant wide receiver coach Antonio Pierce trying to build that offense up, brings in Luke Getsy. But you got to get better on the defensive side of the ball. You've got to get better on the defensive side of the ball, or you got to protect your damn quarterback, whether that be Jimmy Garoppolo or Aiden O'Connell. I think they are in a very good spot right here where they can go edge rusher opposite Max Crosby. But I think for my money, defensive back is what they've got to address. You've got Herbert. You've got to deal with Patrick Mahomes. And for me, my CB1, Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. This would be a home run pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. I think he is phenomenal in both man and zone coverage. He's a physical corner. Saw him with a lot of battles against Malik Neighbors and Ladd McConkey out of Georgia. They opt for defense. They go defensive back. Arnold out of Alabama, I do believe is going to be a top 10, top 15 pick when it's all said and done. New Orleans Saints are on the clock at 14. PFF is saying they need quarterback, they need tackle, they need defensive line. Fuaga is rising up everybody's boards. I don't know if he's a true tackle or if they're going to kick him inside the guard, but you talk about nasty, athletic, physical. Fuaga is the real damn deal. And if the Saints are going to continue to roll with Derek Carr and that offense, keep them upright. Keep them upright because you don't want the second guy coming in because there's no damn shot if that happens. So one more year, Derek Carr. There's not a quarterback that you'd want to take right here. Fuaga out of Oregon State, rising up a lot of people's boards, like the fit for the Saints. Now you've got the Indianapolis Colts at 15. They too can opt for offensive line to protect your young quarterback, but with Jonathan Taylor back, with Anthony Richardson going back in the fold, this team was damn near a playoff team in 2023, and a lot of people thought they'd be picking inside the top 5. So what could the Indianapolis Colts do to really kind of turn around this offense and or defense? You know, they lost their linebacker. Shaq Leonard, middle of the season. He leaves. He's in Philadelphia. Some stuff going on with him. He's cut. Protect Anthony Richardson or get him some more weapons. And I lean with get him some more damn weapons. Let's go. Like, you got to score points in the league. And I like Michael Pittman Jr. He's a pending free agent. They're going to sign him, hopefully bring him back. But you can't keep rolling with Alec Pierce. He's fine, but you need somebody else. Josh Downs probably more suited for the slot. Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU fits a need for the Indianapolis Colts. They need another receiver. Now, you give him 2 Twin Towers, and think about this. Anthony Richardson is still young. Anthony Richardson had less than 500 pass attempts throughout his collegiate career. He only played a couple of games this year. And the thing with him was he was not billed as the most accurate thrower of the football coming out. I'm a big A-Rich fan. Big A-Rich fan. Give him some big targets. If you got a quarterback that's not as pinpoint accurate, having 2 6'4" receivers on the outside helps erase some of that margin of error. So there you go. Brian Thomas Jr., phenomenal wide receiver prospect out of LSU, lands in Indianapolis. Those are the top 15 picks. Let's run through them really quickly. Caleb Williams is a commander. They traded up with Chicago. They draft Caleb Williams. You got Drake May going number 2 overall to Chicago, followed by Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison Jr. And the Chargers don't take a receiver like every other mock. They go O-line with Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. Romo Dunze, 6 to the Giants. Olu Fashanu, 7 to the Tennessee Titans. Latu, 8th overall to the Atlanta Falcons. Malik Neighbors, 9 to the Bears. Brock Bowers at 10. J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, Tyrion Arnold, Fuaga, and Brian Thomas Jr. round out the top 15. Seattle's on the clock at 16. And what does Mike McDonald want to do? Defensive coordinator from the Baltimore Ravens, head coach now the Seattle Seahawks. Feels like they want to go defense, baby. He's got some nice pieces to work with. He had a stud on the defensive side of the ball. Kyle Hamilton at safety. There's nobody of that caliber here, but you got Jared Verse and Dallas Turner staring at them, and they need some edge rushers. They need to be able to generate some pressure against the Niners, against the Los Angeles Rams. So I am going to select Alabama kind of freak, Dallas Turner to the Seattle Seahawks. Get some edge rusher, get an outside guy that can affect the quarterback. You put him with McDonald, I think that's a very good fit. Now you're sitting at 17, Jacksonville Jaguars. Looks like PFF says they need guard, they need center, they need edge rusher, they need defensive back. I like Cisco. I like some of the guys that they have on the back end of their secondary, but Cooper DeJean's sitting here. A lot of people think he's CB1 in this class. Speed for days, physical corner, playmaker on the ball. I like this fit in Jacksonville a lot. So let's go ahead and sign up Cooper DeJean to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that leaves the Cincinnati Bengals here at 18. Don't know what they're going to do with T. Higgins, saying that they need a D-line, maybe a wide receiver if T. Higgins leaves. There's a player that I saw in Mobile that I believe by the time we get to the draft will be pumped up, steamed up, down the board a little bit, but I'm telling you right now, Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. The last time I did this mock, he fell all the way to San Francisco, and I said this would be a perfect fit for him to learn from his former Oklahoma Sooner, Trent Williams. But like this works in Cincinnati. Plug and play, right tackle. They struck out with La'el Collins. Guyton is a monster. I mean, seeing him in person, massive frame, and he's got the size to put on even more. I think this makes a ton of sense for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Rams on the clock at 19, and it looks like they're bringing everybody back. Matt Stafford's coming back. We think Cooper Kupp's going to be back. They've got to protect old Matthew Stafford. The only shot they have is for Stafford to remain upright. J.C. Latham, the big right tackle out of Alabama, you are a Los Angeles Ram. We're on the clock at 20. The Pittsburgh Steelers are here, and PFF saying they need a center, they need a linebacker, and they need what? DB help. They play in the AFC North. Sean Watson and the Cleveland Browns, Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. You better either get after the damn quarterback or have the guys on the back end to stop and not give up stuff. Quinyon Mitchell, standout from the Senior Bowl, probably the overall MVP from the Senior Bowl. His ball skills, fluidity, hip drive. Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo is a stud. And Mike Tomlin and company would probably be ecstatic, over the moon to be able to select him at 20. And yeah, they took Joey Porter Jr. last year, but they need more help. Quinyon Mitchell is a dog. Going to Pittsburgh would be a great fit, and they've got their cornerback pairing of the future right there in Pittsburgh. Now, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock, saying they need tight end, they need O-line. Still plenty of offensive linemen left in this draft to select. You got Mims out of Georgia. You also got the big tackle out of Arizona, Jordan Morgan. Got to see him a little bit at the Senior Bowl. And then Troy Fuantu, I can't pronounce his name the right way. Excuse me, Troy. But we're not going any of those guys right now. I think that Mims out of Georgia, big tackle, big road grading tackle. You got to keep Tua upright. Got to keep Tua upright and create those rushing lanes for that Mike McDaniel offense to operate. They're going to the SEC, and Mims is a Miami Dolphin. The Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock at 22. And we all know what they need. Shit, they need defense, baby. They need defense in the worst way, whether that's somebody to get after the quarterback or defending on the back end. I think secondary cornerback help is probably their biggest weakness. Nate Wiggins out of Clemson fits a need for the Philadelphia Eagles. They get better on the back end with Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. Now, the Houston Texans are on the clock at 23. Go a lot of different directions. This was a playoff team. Not only were they a playoff team, they were one win away from the AFC title game. Go get C.J. Stroud some more help. Go get C.J. Stroud another guy that, if heaven forbid, Tank Dell gets hurt or Noah Brown is injured or Nico Collins is banged up, they got more guys to go get it. You got Troy Franklin, Ladd McConkey, Keon Coleman, A.D. Mitchell, all on the board. I think that the player that makes the most sense for the Houston Texans at the wide receiver spot here is Keon Coleman out of Florida State. He also provides not only what he can do at receiver, but he gives you some special teams, punt return, kick return ability too. At 6'4", he is my best comparable player is Nico Collins. So you got Nico Collins on one side, and then you got a younger version of Nico Collins on the other side with Tank Dell, who can play inside or outside. Keon Coleman is not scheme specific. He can play in and out. I think there's a lot to work with there, a lot of clay that can be molded into something really nice. And if C.J. Stroud is the truck, not the trailer that we believe he is, he should help elevate Keon Coleman, who had some inconsistent play from Jordan Travis in 2023. So Keon Coleman, you are a Houston Texan, which leaves my Dallas Cowboys on the clock at 24. And right here, they're in a beautiful spot. You can go with Johnny Newton, the interior defensive tackle out of Illinois, who I want so bad. 10th overall, according to PFF on the board, and he's still here for Dallas. But I'm telling y'all, things have been a little different in Dallas since Travis Frederick retired from the NFL. Tyler Biadasz has been admirable in his stead, but Jackson Powers Johnson, when you talk about nasty, y'all, this kid is nasty. Watching him live, listening to him talk, I want him in Dallas. And if he's here at 24, I got to put Jerry on the phone. Go run up, turn the card in as quick as possible. JPJ in Dallas. Come on home, baby. Solidify that front of the offensive line. There's already reports that they may prioritize Tyron Smith, which makes me feel a little better about the tackle position. But if we lose Biadasz, this kid can step in from day one and be a meaningful contributor for the Cowboys. Jackson Powers Johnson, phenomenal center prospect. 25, the Green Bay Packers are on the clock. The positions in need: running back, we're not doing that in round one; tackle, D-line, and safety. And for the Green Bay Packers, you get a stud in Johnny Newton right here on the board for you. Some people say he should be a top 12 pick in the draft to fall to 25. I think Green Bay would rush to the podium to turn in this card, which leaves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here at 26 on the clock. Look at that. They need it all. Running back, tight end, guard, center, all that stuff. Hopefully Baker Mayfield gets his credit and they bring him back. But you got to protect Baker. You got to protect Baker. Got to get after the quarterback. I think at this spot, Tampa Bay can do a lot of different things. A trade would make a lot of sense for him. Jordan Morgan, I don't know if he's a true tackle, but he's big and he's got the mold. And there's a lot of clay there with Jordan Morgan. So we're going to give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Jordan Morgan, a tackle who may actually end up kicking inside the guard when it's all said and done. Look at this. Surprise, surprise. The Arizona Cardinals are back on the clock. And I mean, y'all, Jared Verse, 27. What the hell am I doing? Yeah, sign me up with Jared Verse with Jonathan Gannon in Arizona. I mean, they already got their guy at the top of the draft in Marvin Harrison Jr. Flipped to the other side of the ball. Jared Verse, D-line is a position of need for Arizona, the division in which they play. Again, if he's sitting there at 27, and we've seen these things happen, good luck for whomever's got to face him, because he's probably going to be pretty pissed off because he should have gone a little higher. Buffalo Bills, I think they're bringing back Stephon Diggs. I know a lot of people say, Diggs is gone, yada, yada, yada. I think they bring back Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen's found a nice compliment to Diggs with Dalton Kincaid, but Gabe Davis is probably on his way out. It wasn't a good look for Gabe at the end of the game, and I know emotions are high, but they need another downfield threat, a downfield field stretcher. I'm not as high as everybody else on Oregon wide receiver Troy Franklin, but I'm also not a fool. He can flat out fly. And if you've got attention being taken away by Diggs, Dalton Kincaid, probably a lot of one-on-one opportunities for Troy Franklin. Makes a lot of sense in that high-flying Buffalo Bills offense. Troy Franklin, you are a Buffalo Bill. The Detroit Lions on the clock. They need cornerback help. They just need DB help or pass rush help. They just need it. All of it, right? Get after the quarterback or stop the pass. Kool-Aid McKinstry still on the board. Makes this a very easy call. They found a lot of success out of Alabama last year with Jahmyr Gibbs and with Brian Branch. They probably have a nice pipeline and connection, at least to prior Alabama staff, and it may even work to Detroit's benefit with Nick Saban not being there. But Kool-Aid McKinstry on that defense makes a ton of sense for the Lions. So now we've got the Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the San Francisco 49ers to round out round one of this mock. What does Baltimore need, y'all? Defense, offensive playmakers. I think they need more help for Lamar Jackson. And let's just let Lamar do what he does well, right? Getting the ball out quickly, getting it to his quick, dynamic playmakers. I think they found a stud in Zay Flowers, but they need more help. And this player may have helped raise his draft stock more than just about anybody. And I'm talking about Georgia wide receiver Ladd McConkey. Yes, Ladd McConkey sneaks into round one. He is a Baltimore Raven. Ladd, Zay Flowers, quick, shifty separators. That's the name of this NFL game. Could they have gone with the cornerback Enos Rakestraw? Sure. But I think there'll be more cornerbacks available for Baltimore in round two, which leaves the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers on the clock. Chiefs, I know that Chiefs fans do not want another defensive lineman. Oh, man, if we take another D lineman, I'm going to hate it. We need to go receiver. Well, let's look at the receivers. Receivers on the board, you got A.D. Mitchell, you got Tez Walker, Xavier Legette, Jalen Polk, Ricky Pearsall, X-Worthy, Roman Wilson. All those guys would make sense. They feel like a reach at this spot at 31. Best player available, in my opinion, no doubt, is Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle out of Texas. I mean, this would make sense, again, for Kansas City Chiefs to put somebody next to Chris Jones. But we're going to give Chiefs fans what they want, because I do think wide receiver is a position in need. But, y'all, I'm just telling you, it's deep. When you go down the board and you got Johnny Wilson, Jamari Thrash, Malachi Corley, like these players, Javon Baker, they're going to be available later. But I know y'all want to see it. So who do you put there to pair with Rashee Rice? Well, you got to think about what Rice's skill set is and who can bring something that adds to that skill set. getting down the field. It is not Devontae Walker. Xavier Worthy out of the University of Texas. You are a Kansas City Chiefs, which leaves the San Francisco 49ers on the clock here. They need offensive line help, and they got a big tackle out of Oregon, which they probably should have some familiarity with, being out in that area. I think this would be a smash fit for the San Francisco 49ers, who take the big tackle out of Washington. There it is. We went through it. There's the draft for everybody to see. We'll start at number 1 and really recap this thing really quickly. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison Jr., Joe Alt, Roma Dunze, Olu Fashanu, Latu, Malik Neighbors, Bowers, and McCarthy. Nix, Arnold, Fuaga, Brian Thomas Jr., and Dallas Turner round out the top 16, followed by Cooper DeJean, Tyler Guyton, J.C. Latham, Quinyon Mitchell, Arminus Mims, Nate Wiggins, Keon Coleman, JPJ, big center out of Oregon, going to Dallas, Johnny Newton, Jordan Morgan, Jared Verse, Troy Franklin, Kool-Aid McKinstry, McConkey, old lad, Ladarius McConkey, X-Worthy, and Troy Fontanu out of Washington. There is my first round 2024 mock 2.0, going through all of the teams. I know I'm kind of over the screen right now, but reading it out for those of y'all who may be listening and not watching. Let me move this out of the way so everybody can see it, and we'll see how this compares to number 3 that'll come out here in the next couple of weeks. I don't want to put out one next week. Probably go one, wait every couple of weeks to see, wait for some things to shake up, wait for some things to change. But it got you in this thing in about 30 minutes, so pretty happy with that. Appreciate y'all tapping into the show, tapping into the episode. If you stuck around for the entire mock, again, I ask you to hit that subscribe button, thumbs up button, comment below. Let me know how much you hate Ladd McConkey to the Baltimore Ravens or J.J. McCarthy to the Minnesota Vikings. I appreciate y'all tapping in. We got a lot of good stuff at Destination Debbie. Thank you for giving me a little bit of your time. I hope you have a phenomenal day. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.